So finally it's working. So we are live right now and we are about to start our session. So welcome to our 60-second Q&A session. And today's topic is, of course, tenses, something that is daunting for many and for some it's easy. What do you guys think? What about tenses? What do you feel about tenses?
You mean sir, the definition, or is it?
Not definition. What's your experience with the
What
verb tenses?
are what are the tenses you mean?
Maybe your voice is breaking.
I think tenses. Okay, I think tenses is something which demonstrate the time for you, like a time zone.
That is true. But I'm talking about your experience. Did you find it challenging to learn? Do you still face challenges?
Am I audible to you, sir, right now?
Yes, you're audible. Your voice is breaking a little bit, but yes, you're audible.
Yeah, I just find a good spot to have a good connection right now. So I said to you, like, tenses is something which demonstrate and show us the time.
That is true. I'm talking about your personal experience with tenses. Did you find it hard to learn? Are you still finding it challenging?
Yeah, of course. I think tenses is make up your whole speaking, and it's very important to know the tenses. And in the beginning, I think everyone in this English learning journey, their experience, it's hard to know the tenses and to know the verbs and time zones, things like that. I find it very hard when I was learning in the beginning, but still I do mistake when I'm talking about my past, when I'm just want to say something about some sort of tenses. I still have a kind of problem.
Perfect. So I'd say you're in the right place at the right time. What about you, Chirag? Welcome to the Q&A session. What's your take on tenses, Chirag? How do you feel about tenses? If you're just joining as a listener, that's completely fine. Jay, if you'd like to add, give it a shot, or else we'll continue with the session. Alright, so I'll share my whiteboard and we'll start directly with the basic ingredients that a person requires in order to master tenses. Right. Let me know once you guys can see my screen, the whiteboard.
No, we just only see.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm resharing it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about now?
We can see that.
Alright, perfect. So let's begin. So the topic of today is, of course, verb tenses. Why do you think it's called verb tenses and not anything else? Any idea why is it called verb tenses?
I think it's all about like verb changes. When you're talking about categories and types, it is only about verb changes.
True. So we use a lot of main verbs, auxiliary verbs, and of course the regular and irregular verbs. So until and unless you understand the verbs V1 all the way to V2, V3, third person singular, and of course the last one is the gerund form, the ing form. Until and unless you understand these things, it's next to impossible to learn how tenses work. And I've seen a lot of students struggling with tenses because they directly jump onto videos where they talk about tenses, and the tutors who are teaching, they directly say please use V3 over here for perfect tenses, and the students are still perplexed or still confused what V3 exactly is or third person singular is. So before we jump into these things, we'll collect the basic ingredients that are necessary to understand tenses. Do you know what ingredients are? What is the meaning of an ingredient? Any idea?
Ingredient, something which make up something, like, the small tiny things which make up the collection is called ingredients.
Perfect. If you want to cook a recipe, you require all the basic ingredients to cook that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, in order to understand tenses to its fullest potential, we need to first understand the basic ingredients that are required. So ingredients, first of all, you should know what a subject is. Any idea what a subject is? How do we identify subjects?
The draw of an action or something which is talk about, like something which is talk about something. I don't know it.
Okay, so try to understand this thing. A subject is always either a noun or a pronoun. So just remember this thing, a noun or a pronoun. Now, second question, do you understand what nouns are?
Yeah, of course. A naming word for place, things, and items. Person, I mean.
So noun is a name of a person, animal, place, thing, or an idea / concept. For instance, verb tenses, it's a concept, so we can say that it's also a noun, by the way. It's a proper noun. Grammar is a proper noun. English is a proper noun. Language, is it a proper noun?
No, it's a common thing. We have a lot of,
Common noun.
sub-languages.
So, in simple terms, if we identify something as a particular name, for instance, my name, so that's a proper noun. But if I say tutor, that's a common noun. Simple to understand? And pronouns are simply the ones that replaces a noun. So pronouns are used to replace nouns. For instance, instead of saying Jason is an IELTS tutor, I can simply say he is an IELTS tutor. Got it? Now when it comes to pronouns, there are certain pronouns that you should know. So first person singular and first person plural. Any idea what these are?
Yes, sir, yes. First person singular is the one who's talking, who's speaking.
Correct.
At the prison.
And we use the pronoun?
I and
I.
we.
For plural we use
I.
we. For second
Yeah,
person?
plural. Second person, the whom we talking to. Like the person we are, the opposite that we're talking
The
to.
person who is standing in front of you.
Stand in front of me,
So
yeah.
I can say you.
Like you. Yeah.
So I can use you for singular as well as plural purposes. So for both we'll use you. And then comes third person singular. And I'll add a small asterisk over here. I'll tell you later on why. But do you know what a third person singular?
Yeah, those who are not at our conversation, like those who we want to talk about it.
True. So how will we refer to them with pronouns?
Like he, she, it.
He, she, it. And always remember this asterisk, we'll come back to it later on. And of course we are left with third person plural. If these people multiply, then we'll say they. More than one will be referred as they. Even if it is more than one male or more than one female or more than one object, we'll refer to it as, or we'll refer to them as they. Right. So we are done with basic knowledge and understanding of nouns, pronouns, and now you can easily identify a subject, because when I say I am an IELTS tutor, what is the entire sentence about? The subject. Subject is I. So I becomes your subject. And can you notice that it's also a pronoun? It's either a pronoun or it can be a noun. It could be common or proper noun. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Perfect. So what I want you to notice is, in this one sentence itself, we have the word tutor, which is a common noun over here, and we have Jason, which is a proper noun. So a single sentence can have more than one nouns or pronouns, but only one of them can be the subject. Just like there can be only one king in the jungle. Remember this strategy. There can only be one king in the jungle. We can only have one subject. If we club the subject or combine the subject, for instance, Jason and I went to the party. So now we have two subjects. We can consider both of them as subject. Is this clear? Only in this case we can club it, or else we won't call them as subjects.
Sorry, sir. Like, what did you say in the first sentences?
Okay. So in the first sentence, as I said, we can only select one subject, but here we are clubbing them. So we can either say Jason is the subject, or we can say Jason and the pronoun I. Both are subjects.
Thank you.
Correct? So are you getting the ingredients? These are the things that we'll be needing, because these are the formulas in the future: subject, verb, object, and stuff like that. Yeah. And now we need the next ingredient, that is object. We need to identify what objects are. Do you guys know what an object is?
Yes, sir. Something that we are, something which receive an action is called object.
We usually see objects at the last in active voice. And what you need to understand is object completes the sentence, completes the meaning of the sentence. For instance, I'll take the same example that I always use. What if I say cow produces and then I stop speaking? So we still think like, what does the cow produce? So we add milk. So this becomes the object. It makes more sense. I am teaching. This is still a complete sentence, but if I add an object, the basics or the fundamentals of tenses. So this is now your object. Clear? So objects.
Sorry, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Object gives clarity. That's it. You're saying something.
Is there a sentences that might be done take as object?
Sentences as in?
Like, can we not put object to our sentences and
That's okay.
Still we can.
That's okay. That's still a sentence, but object gives us clarity. It makes more sense. You can
Like, how
say,
can we define object? Like, for example, if somebody asks me that, could you just define me an object and give me an example about it?
okay. What if you tell someone that I am learning? Will they ask you a question, what exactly? So you'll reply with the object, verbs. That's your object. Should I clarify it more?
A bit more, sir, sorry, because like while I'm just learning this English, I haven't found this out, satisfying, like to satisfy me the definition, satisfy me some sort of example. I don't know specifically. Could you just add more for that? That would be a pleasure.
Okay. Object in grammar is simply a noun or a pronoun that receives the action. So whatever action we are doing, this is where it is finally ends. We started with the sentence with the subject. We added am, which is an auxiliary verb. We'll talk about auxiliary verbs later on. We added a verb. Can you see the verb? Teach is a verb.
Yeah, it's a verb.
We have a subject, we have a verb, but what is the end result of doing these things? So we add an object to clarify. Got the idea? We add a noun. We add a noun or a pronoun at the last so that we get more clarity. That is why we use objects. Right. So always remember that an object should always be a noun or a pronoun. Clear? So far we collected more than half of the ingredients. We also accidentally covered the verbs. These are actually the 5 forms of verbs. So when we talk about verbs, okay, let's talk about verbs a little bit more in detail. So when talking about verbs, the most important thing that you need to understand is verbs are of two types, two different types, and it works completely differently than each other. So there are regular verbs and irregular verbs. Any idea what is the difference between these two?
Yes, sir. Like regular are those verbs which can, can change easily and have a kind of rules, but irregular are not changed at stable words.
Regular verbs also change, but the thing is, it remains with. We just have to add an ed form to the regular verb. For instance, if I take the verb as cook, so I simply need to add cooked, cooked, cooks, cooking. Can you see? This is a regular verb because we simply need to add ed at the last. Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. But this second one is an irregular verb because the form changes every time. Teach became taught, taught remained taught in the second form, and then comes teaches and teaching. We'll talk about each and every forms and it will make more sense at the last. But can you see the difference, the major difference?
Regular are those which can accept the rules, but irregular are
The ones
changed
that
by
change
themselves,
them.
not accepting rule. Mm-hmm.
True. Now when it comes to irregular verbs, you need to remember the groups. So for instance, this is something that belongs to group 2. I'll show you group 1. So if I take the verb cut, the past form of cut is cut.
Same.
Past participle would be.
Cut, the same.
So this is group 1. And then comes the last one, group 3. For instance, if I take write, the past form would be
Written. Wrote, sorry, wrote.
wrote. Past participle would be
Written.
Did you see all the different forms? These are all the forms of verbs. These are the only verbs that you'll ever encounter. Not more than this, not less than this. And when learning tenses, you should always go for group 3 in irregular verbs. Because let's say if I'm teaching verbs and if I take a regular verb. So if I take the first one and if I convert it to past, you will still be confused whether it is V2 or V3. And as I started using the technical forms, we'll understand the technical part as well. So V1 is the base form. So all these first ones are the base forms or so called the V1. Is this clear? The base form. This is the regular form of any verb.
Yeah.
When it comes to V2, it is the past form and we always use past form in the past tense, of course. Cooked, the past form of cut remains cut, teach becomes taught and write becomes wrote. Is it simple to remember? Base form and past form, V1, V2. Let's add V3. So V3 means past participle and you can see only past participle in two different cases. The first one is when we add passive voice and the second one is perfect tenses. So these ones, the third ones, V3. So we use it for passive voice as well as perfect tenses, nowhere else. Is this clear? Until V3.
Why we say participle here? What does it mean by this, sir?
Past participle means it's a verb form that we use only for passive voice or perfect tenses. Let me show an example of passive voice. For instance, I am writing this book. So if I write it in passive voice, I will use the V3 form. This book is written. So this written is V3 by me. Now is it clear? And can you also see that there is a purple line when I wrote this? Can you see that? There is a purple line. Why do you think it shows purple line? It shows the purple line.
Purple? I can't see purple color here.
I can't see.
Nobody can?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's just showing me. One second. Is the purple line visible or is it just me?
No, sir, but you can tell us like
Okay,
about the secret about it.
I'll show you what I'm able to see. So this is what I see. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Right. So the grammar software, the one that I use, are Grammarly and teaching something pro writing it. Yeah, it's called pro writing it. So it shows that we should not use, or we should use the passive form less, because it makes the sentence less direct. I'll show you the comment as well, and it suggests a rephrase. Can you guys read this one? Passive verbs make your writing less direct because it is in passive voice. So use an active verb instead. So just like salt in food, we should use passive as less as possible. Just remember this thing. So try to use passive voice less, but this does not mean that you should not use it. Try to show it to the examiner that yes, you can use it, but don't use it too often. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Yeah, it's clear. We shouldn't use passive voice while we have a speaking too much.
Yeah. So subject plus verb plus object. Now can you identify these things? Can you see the subject I? We can see the verb,
Yeah.
ing form of the verb, and we used an object as this book. You can still say I am writing, and it is correct, but people will ask you what. You can say this book, that's your object. And we just reversed it. Object plus V3, that is our past participle form, plus your subject, that's your passive voice. Now is it clear how active and passive works?
Yes, sir. It's clear. But I forgot to ask you something, sir. While you taught us the object, what is the complement, sir? Is it the same to object or is it something different?
Okay, it's slightly different because it complements the subject. Did you get the point? It's slightly different because it complements the subject. For instance, if I say, let's say, this book is easy to learn. So you're complimenting that it is easy. The moment you change it to difficult, you're changing the meaning, but it is still a compliment. Got it?
Correct, sir. Thank you.
I can also say practicing tenses makes it easier to comprehend. So this word easier is your complement. You won't be needing it until the advanced version of grammar, until you master the basics, but yes, eventually you'll have to learn what complements are, what a predicate is. So predicate is simply except the subject, everything is your predicate. So the one that I highlighted, the subject is I, whatever the sentence talks about, whatever the subject talks about, everything is your predicate. You don't need these technical terms, you just need to understand the basics, get fluent, get comfortable with the language, and then if you're planning to go extremely advanced, then you need these things. All right?
Yeah, of course. And nobody told me this kind of things. Thank you.
Now, are you guys clear with this one? I did not cover perfect tense because that is something that we'll be covering during the session. As I said, the first part, V3, is used for perfect passive, and the second part, we'll use it for perfect tenses. So once we reach that perfect portion, we'll start using the V3 form. Until then, you don't need to worry about the V3 part. I've seen students looking at that chart which says V1, V2, V3, and they have no idea how V3 works. So this should not happen with you guys. Right? Before we proceed, I need you guys to ask me questions so far. Like, what are your questions now? With respect to tenses. Any doubts, any queries so far? We are still covering the ingredients that you will be needing to understand tenses. That will be starting in a few minutes. So,
I'm totally clear. You can ask other participant. If they have a problem, they will share with you.
perfect. So, thoroughly clear. So, let's proceed with The remaining two, I have seen many people calling this or referring to this as V4 and V5, but I personally don't use them because sometimes they replace each other or interchange each other. So we'll call them by name. So after V3 comes third person singular. Did we cover pronouns? Yes, we did. Can you see third person singular with a star? Yes, we can see that. Now can you connect these two things? This and third person singular in the verb. Can you see the connection now?
Mm-hmm.
So third
So
person.
what is this term in there? Like what is secret here? You said something before.
Yeah. So the star means whenever we use present simple, this is inside the tenses. So we are talking about tenses. So present simple will require third person singular or so called the plural verb. Some people call it informally as plural verb, but actually they are referring to the third person singular. When we reach present simple, I'll show you how this works. And this is what we are talking about: cuts, teaches, and writes. So whenever, okay, let me give an example. So I can say I teach English. I can say the same thing for we teach English, you teach English, but I cannot say he teach English. Have you ever noticed that? This is wrong.
It's wrong.
Because
Yeah. I call it simple present tense. Yeah.
because this is present simple and this has to be in the third person singular form. Okay, yes, teaches. Clear? We'll talk about this in detail, so don't need to worry.
I have one question, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, not about this, sir. This thing is already cleared for me. Sir, I have a question, sir. If I want to practice one module in one day, so sir, it will be improved, or sir, I have to like for fast improvement, I have to practice all modules simultaneously.
Okay, so as human beings, we need vitamins, mineral, calcium, we need sunlight. So you cannot dedicate one thing for one day. You have to practice it simultaneously.
Yes.
Got it?
Because sir, nowadays it's really difficult for me to practice all modules simultaneously, sir, because of lack of time. That's why, sir.
See, skills are something that we have to do subconsciously, not consciously. If you're doing something consciously, that means you are still in the learning phase. For instance, driving a car. If you're doing it consciously, that means you are a learner. But if you can just sit, relax, and drive, that means you're doing it subconsciously.
Yes, sir.
Got it? So, make skills a part of your daily life, learning skills or practicing skills. So, constantly surround yourself with the language. So, constantly consume content and simultaneously produce content. Consumption means listening and reading, and of course, it includes watching things. And production means, or creating content means, speaking and writing.
Yes.
Right? So, let's resume. So, we were at third person singular. We'll talk about this in detail once we reach tenses, and finally the gerund, or so called the ing form. People also call it the progressive form, the continuous form. Just remember it is used in the continuous tense. Now is it easy to remember these five forms? These are V1, V2, V3, third person singular, and the ing form. This is what we mentioned here. So this is V1, V2, V3, or base form, past participle form for passive and perfect. Then comes the third person singular for he, she, it. We'll use cuts, and the gerund form or the ing form. Is it clear now?
It's clear.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
So we have, I think, most of our ingredients. Now we are only left with auxiliary verbs, and you need to understand what the main verbs are. So we'll start with the main verbs for passive voice. So when we, not passive voice, perfect tense. So when we start with perfect tense, we'll have to understand these three things. One is for past, we'll use had. For present, we'll use has or have. And for future, we'll always use will have. Is it easy to remember? Had
So it's
for
easy.
past.
It's easy.
Sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat that, Abby?
Sorry, I said I'll give you a feedback. Yes, it's easy. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So when you are learning from me, you will have this sense of understanding complex things in a very simple manner. But just remember this thing, these are actually complex contents. The only thing is the way I explain, I try my best to simplify it. And I respond in such a way that as if I'm teaching a 5-year-old or 6-year-old. So that is the reason you should be able to understand these complex topics, but just try to focus and try to follow along. Right? So are you clear with these ones? The main verbs.
Yes, sir.
Now again, you need to connect it with the pronouns. So again, it's not working. Yeah. So you need to connect pronouns to the main verbs. And guys, don't worry about this PDF, this whiteboard. I'll be sending the whole whiteboard to you. You'll get a PDF. You just need to drop me a DM on Telegram. I'll be sending this file personally. So the reason I asked you to connect the pronouns is because you need to verify what goes with what. So can we connect all 7 pronouns? I, we, you, he, she, it, and they with had. Does it go with had? I had, we had,
Yes, sir.
you had, he had, she had, it had, they had. It goes with everything. But when we verify the same thing with has and have, it doesn't go. So I have, we have, you have. So these 3, actually 4, go with have. But when it comes to he, she, it goes with has. Can you guys see this? And for future, everything goes with will have. Are you guys clear with this concept? This
Yes.
is, sorry?
Yeah, it's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of
Easy.
cake. I'm so glad to hear that. Yes, this is a piece of cake for you guys because you are veterans or so-called the seasoned users of English. But when I teach students who don't know even the basic ones, I have to teach these things. I have to help them understand these things, and that is the reason I'm going like this. And we are on
Sir,
the
like,
benefit-
sir, why like they put main verbs here? Like it is like main. It's not gonna change or something. Like what does it mean by main here?
main verbs means when using perfect tense, we'll use these are the main verbs, because without these verbs you cannot create the perfect tense, whether it is past perfect, present perfect, or future perfect. And you'll be able to see the essence of this one in your perfect continuous tense as well.
Okay,
We'll
got
talk
you.
about the forms in a few minutes. We'll talk about the forms. I hope to complete this lecture probably in 1 more hour, or else it will take more than that, because we are talking about the tenses. And before we proceed, I want you guys to remember the number 252. So we'll write here 252. So how many tenses are there? Any idea?
3 tenses and like with subcategories become 12
So
because
three-
each sentence have 4 subcategories.
correct. So 3 tenses, past, present, future, and there are 4 forms. Do you know the 4 forms?
Sir, present, past.
No, those are the 3
Perfect.
tenses: past,
No,
present,
it's-
and future.
Yeah. Got
But
you.
what are the forms? Simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So the total is 12. So we are going to take this number all the way to 252 types of sentences today. That is the reason I started this session. Okay, it's hard to believe, but yes, you will be able to make 252 sentences by the end of this session, if you understand these concepts carefully. And I'm not just saying that you'll get stuck at 252, it will be 252 plus. 252 is the number that we'll come at, but then comes limitless possibilities, because we can mix and match with compound sentences. We can create complex sentences, compound complex sentences, just with the help of these formats. All right, so yeah, let's proceed from here. Now we need to add our last ingredient of the day, and then we can proceed our tenses. So our last ingredient is auxiliary verb. Have you heard about auxiliary verb?
Yes, sir.
Auxiliary verbs, any idea what are auxiliary verbs? It's very easy, kindergarten stuff, but people just don't know the name. That's it.
It means like helping verbs. I mean, like they help you to make a sentences, make idea, concept, something like that.
As in which ones?
Like could.
No, those
yeah.
are model verbs.
Well,
Can, could, shall,
So
should,
I
will.
cover them.
Model verbs.
Mhm.
We won't be covering model verbs today, but yes, we'll be covering auxiliary verbs. They are pretty much basic. Yes, Jay?
I think
So may I?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's like an am, is, are.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not wrong.
What would you use for
Those
past?
are the helping. Sorry?
What would you use for the past?
For was and were. Were.
For present?
Am, is, are.
And for future?
Will be. Will or will be.
shall. I think we can use shall too.
Sorry?
We can use shall for future too, sir. Am I right or not?
Yes, we can use, but we will cover those things in model verbs. But these are the main ones. These are the ones that we'll be using for tenses. There are other auxiliary verbs, but right now we are only concerned with these ones. And if you noticed, I did add something in a bracket in will. What you need to remember is, when using will, only use it for simple tense, future simple. Will be used for continuous. Right? So let's do a quick verification of which pronouns go with these ones as well, just like we did it previously. So can we use all of these for was, I was, we was? No, it doesn't fit, so we need to verify it manually. So can I say I was?
You can say that.
Is it correct?
Yes.
I was.
Is it?
Yes,
It is.
sir. I would.
Okay.
Mhm.
What about
It's like I was wrong.
yes? What about we was?
No, we should use were here, sir.
We were. Can we use I plus were?
We never heard it.
Okay, a simple question. Can I use I plus were?
Yeah.
Were.
Someone said
Yes.
yes. Someone
Yes.
said yes.
Yeah, it's conditional.
Conditional.
Yeah, it's conditional.
And
Yeah, maybe
I think it's
we can say,
hypothetical.
we can say I were. If I want to advise you, so I can say if I were you.
yes.
So we
that
can
is
use
called-
it in this.
It's not just a condition. It's a hypothetical condition that does not exist.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that.
If I just look at a conditional form, I can say if I was. That's a different thing. I need to say hypothetically. So if I were, let's say if I were a doctor, I would have saved this.
Whenever we say imagination, we describe imagination. So
hypothetical,
at that
yes.
time, sir, we
Yeah, that's hypothetical. Imagination is
Something that
hypothetical.
is not real.
Exactly. But when we are looking at tenses, please don't use I plus were. This is advanced English. This is usually not taught in spoken English classes, and I did have a detailed conversation on this with a grammar expert, because she taught her students that we can never use I plus were, and I was someone who said that we can use I plus were. Alright, so this is not taught in spoken English, but when we learn advanced English, yes, we can talk hypothetically with conditionals, of course. Anyway, back to this one, we can say I plus were, we won't consider it here. But what about you? Can I say you was?
Yes, you can say that, sir.
You was wrong?
Yeah, you can say you was.
No, you cannot say you was. You have to say you were wrong.
No, we cannot. You were. Yeah.
Right, let's go to the next one. What about he, she, it?
I think
Was
they
me.
take was here.
She, it
Yeah.
was.
And what about
He
they?
was, she was, it was.
They was, they were.
They were. They were,
They
because
were.
they are
Verify
plural.
this. Perfect.
They were plural.
Let's check the present, Amiza. So I was. Okay, we are done with was, were. What about I am?
Yes, it's right.
I is.
No.
I are.
No.
Okay, so
No.
let's talk about we. We am, we is, we are.
We are.
are.
What about
Are.
you?
You are.
So you are. What about he, she, it? He am, she am, it am.
He is.
Is
Yes,
she is.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
And what
Yes,
about they?
like that.
They am, they is, they are.
Are.
It just clicks. Everything clicks when we say in the correct form. Did you notice that? It sounds right. And what about will and will be? It goes with everything. Will and will be is compatible with everything. I will, we will, she will, it will, they will, anything, doesn't matter. And will be the same thing. So we have all the basic ingredients that we require to learn tenses. So are you guys ready to learn tenses? Of course. Okay, out of you guys, who do you think is the worst at tenses? Like personally, you can tell me, so I can focus on your doubts most often, and we'll cover tenses in such a way that you will be the one who understands tenses exactly. So anyone would like to volunteer? But the person who volunteers will have to answer a lot of questions, and that person will learn the most.
I think I should say, sir, the one which is like perfect continuous, and I don't know like the since and from the far, like we have two things there, like using to demonstrate the time, like since and far.
Okay, since and for is different. You know the difference, right? We can say since to be very specific and for to show a range. I can say that I've been teaching IELTS since 2021, and I can also say I've been teaching IELTS for the past 3 years. But I can never say I've been teaching since the past 3 years. That's wrong. I cannot say I've been teaching for 3 years. That's wrong. I said it too quickly. Let me write it down. Just remember this thing. You might have seen since 1947. Have you seen something like this with businesses?
So can we say since from last 3 years? From last 3 years, I'm teaching IELTS in.
For the past 3 years. This is what
Yeah,
I
for
said
the
earlier.
past 3 years. Yeah.
So since
Yes.
2021. Clear? So be specific. That's it. For since, be specific. And for, again, I'll say the same thing. And for, give a range. Alright, we are deviating from the main topic. Our main purpose is the verb tenses. The whole name of verb tenses would be, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, the first one is not simple. First one is past, second one is present, and the third one is future. Now if we look at the forms, we have simple, we have continuous, we have perfect, and perfect continuous. Is this easy to remember? You need to remember these combinations because you will be using these combinations to create the whole tenses part.
It's easy, sir.
Okay, I made a spelling mistake. Yeah. Now the whole name of a tense is past simple verb tense. And just remember this thing, we are learning everything in positive form. Just remember this part, positive form. Right? I've seen many tutors teaching formulas, and I've seen many students memorizing formulas, but they still struggle with tenses. Do you know why?
Why?
Because memorization is something that is temporary and comes with an expiry date.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct? So we won't use the tenses first. We'll first learn how these concepts work, and then we'll delve into the tenses and the formulas. All right? So I'll be asking you guys for the formula, and you will be telling me how the formula works. I'll just show you how it works, because now you have all the ingredients. Right. So let's take the first one. We need a subject. Select any of the subjects. You guys are the ones to decide. Select any pronoun.
May I?
You just need to select pronoun. You can simply start. Just say the pronoun. I'll select one of them.
Any name?
Sorry?
I.
I.
Any name we can suggest?
Sorry?
It's okay. I.
So I is the subject. We all know this because we covered the ingredients. As it is in the past form, I need a verb in the V2 form. We'll take the verb write over here. The past form is wrote, written, writes in the third person singular, and of course the last one is gerund, writing. Done. So I need V2. What will you write here?
Wrote.
Should be wrote.
Wrote.
Yes.
Let's take an essay. So what is the formula here? Can someone tell me the formula?
Like subject plus verb plus complement.
Hello?
Oh,
Yes.
I think
yes,
my
yes.
internet fluctuated. Can you guys hear me now?
yes. Sir.
Okay, so yeah. So something is
Am
missing.
I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible, Jay. So what is missing here?
Verb is missing here. So
Which
verb.
verb? Which verb? You cannot simply just say verb.
We.
V2.
To yes, we need to be very specific. Right, so I'll say V2 plus object. Can we do the same thing for all of the verbs? Sorry, all of the pronouns. Can I say we wrote an essay, you wrote an essay, he wrote an essay, she wrote an essay, they wrote an essay? Is it okay? To
For
say
he, she, it, we can't do this.
that? We can say
Sorry,
she
it's
wrote
not-
an essay.
Yeah, we can say that.
So for everything it works. So I'll just simply keep it as it is. And I want you guys to learn tenses like this one. Don't think about the formula. Think about what you're trying to do. It's in the past form and the simple form. So we'll simply say I wrote an essay. Clear? So this is our first sentence. Let's go to the second one. Any doubts so far? In present simple. Sorry, past simple.
Not at all.
Perfect. So let's go to past continuous verb tense. I won't write the whole thing from now onwards. This is past simple verb tense in positive form. So I need a subject. I'll again take I. Can I say directly I writing an essay?
What?
Something is
No,
missing.
we should put a to be verbs here.
So what do we add? We use.
Like auxiliary verbs. M.
Now you know what to
Verbs,
add.
yes. Yes.
Exactly. So we add auxiliary verbs from the present form. Sorry, the past form. So we'll use I plus was. What about we? Can I say we was?
No, we were.
So do you remember what we covered here? This thing.
Auxiliary verbs here.
This is what we covered in the past. So whatever we covered in the previous passages, not passages, the lines, we'll be using all of them right now, one by one. Until and unless you don't understand that part, it's impossible to learn these parts. So I'll simply write writing an essay. Writing an essay. So we are done with past continuous. Now you guys tell me what the formula should be.
Subject plus verb ing
No,
plus was. Yeah.
was
Plus
or
was
were
word.
plus the ing form. So I'll simply say ing plus the last thing we
ing.
added is an essay. An essay is our object.
Object. Yeah.
Clear? Good to go?
Good. You can go.
Good to go. Yeah.
Now we'll say, now we'll use V3 for the very first time. Past perfect. I won't write the whole thing. It's past perfect verb tense in positive form. That's a whole name. We don't need the whole name. So subject, we'll take I. What do we need here? We need a main verb. Sorry, we need a main verb. Remember this? Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah. We can use here have not had.
Had.
Past perfect. Yeah. Had. Sorry.
So V3, we need the third form of the verb. As I said, for perfect, we'll always use the third form. So I had. These are our
Written.
verbs.
Written.
Written. We need an object. We'll keep the object same so we don't get confused every time. Is it clear? Now tell me
Yeah.
the formula.
Yes.
Subject
Subject plus had
Had. Plus.
plus that
Plus
form would be V3.
plus
Done.
object.
Now
Then
past perfect continuous. Of course, past perfect continuous verb tense in positive. So I had. Can you see the continuous? This is the first time. No, actually it is the second time. So whenever we see continuous, we know that we have to use the ing form. Can I say I had writing an essay? Something is wrong. Something doesn't fit there. So as we have perfect, we'll take this one. Still, it doesn't make sense. I had write. Sorry, we already used that. So I had writing an essay. Still, it sounds wrong. So
it
what is
doesn't
missing?
sound good.
So what's
Yeah.
missing?
Ben is
Been,
missing
I
here.
guess.
Bean is missing. So this makes it complete.
Ben.
Can we use it for this? The same thing for everything. I had been, we had been, she had been, you had been. Correct?
Yeah, the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what is the formula?
totally. I subject had been
Had been.
Jared from
VING.
Or gerund. Both are the same thing. You can say progressive, continuous, doesn't matter.
subject.
That's your formula. And we are done with the past form. Was it easy to
Sorry,
understand?
sorry. What if? Yeah. What if like we ask that first from someone that what is been here? Like what is the meaning of been here?
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how to answer that. I'll need to Google that part. I've never Googled this. Been. So
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
let me Google.
Me too.
So been is the past participle of be.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so be, been, been. How would we say bees? No, it doesn't work. So hold on a second. Verb forms of be. Okay, so this is what Google says. It's not exactly a verb, but this is a form that we use for continuous form. The verb be is used as an auxiliary verb, and it can also be used as a main verb. The verb be is irregular. There are 8 forms, and this is why this game is different.
It's very
So
nice.
be, Amiza, was, were, being, and been. Got it?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, got it.
Perfect. So let's continue from here. So past, just give it a look. Let me know if you don't understand. Don't memorize the formula, just try to understand the context. Good to go to present.
Got it. Yeah, good.
Right. So now the thing is, we covered past. Now we need to go to the present. So the verb changes. So what is the first one? Present. Present past, present future. What is it?
Simple present.
Present simple. And the whole name is present simple verb tense in positive form. So subject, I.
Yes.
So can I write, wrote, written, write, writes, writing? What should I write?
You can just use V1.
V1. So write. Now what should I write?
I write an essay.
And the object.
So essay is something that is very singular, like one essay, 2 essays. So let's change the verb to, not change the verb, we'll change the object to I write my journal. And I can also add a frequency by saying every day. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Now let's take the second one. We write, can I say my journal every day? That's not possible because it's my personal journal. So we write
Journal every day.
whose
Our.
journal? Our journal or our journal. I need to copy this or I'll keep on writing. Yeah. You write whose journal?
Your.
He writes. Did you notice something?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
here.
We should not be
Yes.
writing
As.
we write. We have to say the third person
Yes.
singular.
Singular.
Did you see the star coming here?
Yeah.
Where is
Let's make a sense right now.
this thing? Third person singular, and there was a place where I added a star. Yeah, here it is. When we were learning about pronouns, this is why I added star, and I did mention third person singular. Yes. And for present simple, we are right now in the present simple form.
Yes.
So we used he writes third person singular. Whose journal?
His
Job. His job.
She writes.
her journal.
Her.
It writes. We'll consider it as ChatGPT, so we can agree with that. It writes
Its journal.
its journal. And let's cover one thing as a
Its.
side quest. What is the difference between its and its?
I think one is show ownership, like position or ownership.
Possession, correct. And another one is
It's
The
it's
short form of
it is contraction.
contraction. So if I say its, it means it is.
it
And
is.
if I say possession,
It's like that. Possession.
so
Yes.
its remains its. We cannot separate it. So a simple difference would be the dog is wagging Wagging means shaking. So what should I use?
Yeah.
It's or it's?
It's like
It's.
with apostrophe. With apostrophe.
Okay. So if I add it's, the problem is this converts to it is. Is it correct?
Mm-hmm.
The dog is wagging
No,
its
it's
tail. We are wrong.
no, grammatically it's incorrect.
So we have to write its tail.
It's.
And
Yes.
anyway, this is informal. This is not allowed in IELTS. So we cannot use contractions in IELTS. But while speaking, you should say it's. So I can simply say, it's a sunny day. That means it is a sunny day. Got the difference?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah, good to go, sir.
Perfect. So we are left with they. Can I say writes?
No.
Because it is not third person singular anymore. We are in third person plural. So they write. Whose journal?
There.
Yes. That.
Now you guys tell me the formula. What should I write here?
It's a subject plus verb with es.
No, the first
Third
formula.
person.
Okay, we'll have two formulas
yeah.
for this one. We'll have two formulas.
Mhm.
Subject plus verb plus object. This is the epitome of
Mhm.
a simple example. Epitome means the perfect example. That's an LR for you guys.
Perfect.
So if the subject is
Third person. singular.
third person singular, we'll use the third person.
Es.
Is it easy to remember third person singular like this?
Yeah, it's easier.
Done?
Mm-hmm.
These are the two formulas. But did you guys worry about the formula while we were writing?
No.
Exactly. So you don't need to worry about the formula. You just need to worry about the right context. And if someone asks, like, can you please explain the formula? Yeah, this is the subject. This is called the first form of the verb. This is the third person singular. This is the object. That's it. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
No need to memorize. Mm-hmm.
No need to memorize. Please don't memorize. It comes with an expiry. As I said, if you memorize, it comes with an expiry. So we're done with present simple. Let's proceed to present continuous. So we need a subject. We'll always take I as usual. So what should the formula be? Not the formula. What should we write?
I
It's continuous, so we'll take the verb as writing, but something is wrong. We cannot say I writing an essay.
Yeah, we should use like to be verb here.
It's present, so we should use an auxiliary verb. Am is are.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? So we,
Are
you,
same.
he, she, it.
Is.
So am is are all three done, and they will use it for are.
They are.
This is your present continuous. Subject plus,
To be verb.
we need to be specific.
SMR.
Am is are, azimar. Both are same. Azimar sounds like a dish, like a falafel.
SMR. Okay, Mizar. And we can use the first we one.
No, it's not.
We ing, sorry. We ing. Mhm.
Object. Done. Let's jump into
Done.
the perfect part. So present perfect verb tense in the positive form. So again we'll start with the subject. We have perfect, so I'll directly write here written an essay. Now tell me what's wrong.
Yeah, we are missing to have verbs here. You know,
The
some verbs
main,
which is
it's either
the
has
main.
or have.
Hmm.
So what should I use with I?
Have.
Now does it sound correct? I have written an essay.
Yes.
We have written an essay. You have written an
Yes, we
essay.
have.
He, she,
Yes.
it has written an essay.
Has written as have.
Okay, as I'm busy on this part, I have no idea who is on the screen, who is coming, who's going. Yeah, you guys are still here. Perfect. He, she, it, and we are left with they. So they have written an essay. So now what the formula should be? Subject plus which verb?
Have had. Word three.
Third form.
Three.
Repeated
And object. Done?
object. Yes.
Now the twins, present, perfect, continuous tense.
Times.
Actually the verb tense in positive form. Subject will take I, and as it is perfect and we also have continuous, so I know that I need to write writing because it has continuous. Now what should I make or what should I add to make it correct?
Have been.
You have been.
Someone
Yes.
said have been. Done?
Yes.
And we can use for all of the subjects, so all of the pronouns. You have been, we have been, he has, yeah, he, we cannot say he have been. So we'll say he, she, it.
It has been writing an essay.
So what's the formula?
Have been.
Have been or has been.
You can say has, have, or
ING.
VING.
Been ing.
Plus ING form.
Object.
That's it. So just to take a look at present, we have these things in between, but yeah, I'll keep this for a while. Just go through it once before we proceed. I'll keep this part first and then the second part.
It's done, sir. It's
Okay.
done.
So I'll scroll down.
Yeah.
Just go through it once, just read it and let me know if it doesn't make sense.
Done, sir. It's done too.
Then, is anyone still reading? Just let me know. Darpan, Joy, and Chirag.
Sorry, brother.
Are we good to go to the next part, the final part?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, your brother.
Okay, so we'll
Yes.
proceed to the last part, that is future. Future is the easiest. So future simple, we need a subject, so we'll take I. Do you remember the one that I marked? Okay, it will be a long journey to go up and down. Yeah, somewhere here. I marked will and I wrote simple over there. I know where it is. Can you guys see that? Nope. Yeah. So can you see this? Future, auxiliary verbs, future, and I wrote simple over here, and I wrote continuous over here. So did you get the hint? Will is for future simple, will be is for future continuous.
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Got you.
Perfect. So I'll simply say I will, and I need to use the which form of the verb?
Write an essay.
We won.
That's it. You can use it for all the pronouns. I, we, he, she, it, they. Just need to remember for future we'll be using for simple forms will. Now future continuous. So I will be. So can I write I will be write an essay?
An essay.
Is this correct?
Writing.
Yeah.
Because it is
Writing, ing.
continuous,
ING
the
form.
verb should always be in ing form. Done. That's your second part. Subject plus will be plus ing form plus subject. Now we are left with future perfect. So what should I write? It's in perfect. So I know that there will be a subject I know that I'll use the verb written. How will we make it? Future perfect.
Will have.
I will have you.
Now does it make sense?
Subject will have plus B3 objects.
That's it. Can I use it for all of them? I will have, we will have, you will have, he will have, she will have, it will have, they will have. For all of them.
No, for he, we could use have. No, sir.
We will have, yes, why not? Is this correct?
He, she,
It works for everything.
will.
Will have
have.
works for everything. So we'll keep it as it is.
Yes, yes.
The twins, future perfect. So now I know that I have to use the ing form. How will I use the ing form here?
I will have been.
Which verb?
Here.
I.
So we are done with tenses, but we did not reach that figure yet. In a few minutes we'll reach that figure of 252.
Sir, what if we say I will be have written?
No,
I will
that's
be.
wrong. That's wrong. I will be writing is different. I will be writing. That is here. Future continuous.
But not with the perfect. Not with the perfect.
No. It has to be I will have been writing.
So what we use with he in future simple, like he will writes or write.
He will write an essay.
Right.
The third person singular form only applies for the present simple tense. Can you see
Okay.
only for present simple we had this complication of so many things. And there are two formulas
Yes.
for present simple. That's it.
Okay.
Alright. I'll keep the future part for a while and then we'll go to the top to verify the numbers. I did promise that you will be able to make 252 sentences. So I need to live up to that promise. We are still not even close. We have not even crossed 100. And within a few minutes, I need to help you guys to reach 252.
That'll be nice, sir. That'll be nice. There is like a joke people make in simple present, like in this complication that you said. Like
Yes, there is this joke. I hate verbs.
Yeah.
I dance.
dance.
We dance.
Yeah.
You dance, and he dances. Does he dance more than me? So yeah, that is true.
Okay. Can
I'll
I
say
ask
that.
something?
Sorry, one at a time.
Can I ask something? I'm sorry, I have a very bad network, but I missed something that I just wanted to know that when we can use the future perfect and future perfect continuous, like what is the conditions?
Okay, so try to think about future perfect in such a way that you know that this activity will be done in the future at this particular time. So next week we will have been completed our session. We will have completed our session. Okay, so let me write. So we will have completed our 63rd IELTS Q&A session next week by this time. So this is the real life example. So we know that next week we'll have a Q&A session, and we know that by 11:20 we'll be done with that. So we are sure that this will be over by then. This is a 60-second one. I'm talking about the next one. So right now the time is 11:20 p.m. IST. I'm talking about Indian Standard Time. So let's say that the Q&A session starts at 10 o'clock. For us, it starts at 10 p.m. So if we are at 10:15, so will the session be running, or will be done with the session by 10:15?
Okay, bro.
Will we be done by the session? Done with the session by
No.
10:15? No.
It's running. It's running.
It will be running. It will be continuous. So we
Yes.
will have been attending the session next week. I know it's cutting, so I'll be writing anyways. We will be attending the session next week by this time. This is future perfect continuous. We know that the session will be running on. It will be going on right now. Did you see the difference?
Okay.
In the perfect,
Perfect that it's done. We already finished that.
here we have already finished the
action.
task. Here we are still in the task. We are still running. But in the future, we are predicting. Got it?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Easy to understand. It's not that complicated. And I'm glad that you asked this question. Done? So now let's do the math. Do you guys think that we completed 100 sentences or less than 100? I said 252. Let's do the math. It's less than 100. I'll tell you why. So the three forms would be past, present, and future. These are the three tenses. So I'll put a number 3. Now let's look at the forms. So simple, compound. Sorry, no, I started writing simple, compound. Simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. NUOUS. So perfect continuous. So these are another 3. So 3 4s are 12. How many pronouns did we use? 7. I, we,
7.
you, he, she, it, and they. So can someone do the math for me?
Yes.
So
Sir.
3 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 7.
Okay, just let me find calculator. Yes, sir. Go ahead. 3.
Multiplied by 4
34.
multiplied by 7.
It's 84.
84. So now let's do a small game and we'll start compounding these things. So I want you guys to vote and select any one of them. So from these 3, select one. Past, present, or future.
Past.
Past. So fastest finger wins. Select any one from these 4.
Perfect.
So someone said perfect. So let's make a sentence in past perfect. How would we? We'll take a subject I. So perfect. So I'll write written an essay. Do you remember this? We did this. Now we need to add something.
Had we
So I
had here.
had written an
Had.
essay. And if you remember, I did mention something a couple of times. Past perfect verb tense in positive form. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I did emphasize this
Yeah,
part.
just a verb.
The reason being, I had not written an essay. Did you see what we did?
Yeah, we put like the negative form here.
So 84 positive, another 84 negative. So this 168. We can do this for everything, and making a negative sentence is not that challenging. You just need the word not, and you should know where to add the not. We are left with one more. So past, okay, we'll just copy paste. Past perfect verb tense in question form. How will we make it a question? We'll simply use the main verb had in the beginning. Had I written an essay? Question mark. Is it in question?
Yeah.
So another 84 questions is equal to, that's your figure. Can you see what we did?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It can
course.
be applied to, of course, a lot of things. And I'm not going ahead of this because it will be too complicated, because we covered from the basic ingredients all the way to the most advanced ones. And just
Sir,
imagine
like,
learning.
what if we do another?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Continue.
I said, like, what if we do another math here? Like, if we do like negative interrogative, it also become 84 more. It's become like 336.
That will be permutation combination. And just imagine adding the combinations of simple, because these all are simple sentences, by the way. I did not mention that. I forgot to mention that. Simple sentence, past perfect verb tense in positive form. Because if you check this is a simple sentence. It is also an independent clause. Now just imagine if you master sentence structure. We have simple sentence, we have compound, we have complex, we have compound complex. Just make them multiples, because simple sentence only has one clause. Compound sentence has two clauses, two independent clauses. Complex sentence has again two, one dependent and independent, and compound complex has three more. So start multiplying the number 252 to these ones. That is how many sentences you can now create. Correct? And yes, next week we'll be closing the session in the next 2 to 3 minutes. And next week we'll be covering simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex sentence. So how was today's session?
That was amazing, sir. Like, that was amazing. That was thrill. Like, even I tried to watch some videos on YouTube in order to, learn the sentences from there. I know a bit, like, but I wasn't kind of able to know further and in details. But you made it very easier and shorter, and you, like, made us to interact with you, and they were very nice. Like, it helped me a lot to learn these sentences easily. Thank you so much for that.
You're most welcome, man.
Yeah, it was very good, and I have never thought about calculating these numbers, but it's amazing.
Everything is possible. You just need to simplify it.
Yeah, it was very simple. It was very smooth. Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome, dear.
So it is totally worth to attending these sessions, and the knowledge you shared is top notch. Was a top notch. So thank you so much for.
Thank you for your time, because there were, like, on an average 5 people during the session, 5 to 6. That was the average for today, I suppose. I'm not sure. You guys did check the chat. I'm not sure. So if I multiply 6 people into 1.5 hours, so that is probably 9 to 10 human hours, and I have to make sure that I add value, or else it's 9 human hours wasted for nothing. So that was my goal,
Of course you have
to make sure that every minute
Of course you
counts.
had
Right? So that's that. And I did receive a...
So
Yes, please continue.
yeah, sorry for interruption. Before you closing, I have some suggestion. Like if you just put a active and passive clause and also the conditional clauses in upcoming session, that would be a biggest favor, because I don't know those kind of things too.
Okay, so those things are advanced and it will take another 30 minutes or so. So let's cover that next time.
Yeah, of course. I'm saying like in upcoming session, like could
Yeah.
you just jot down in upcoming schedule and session? That would be nice if we have that too.
Definitely. So the next one is scheduled for sentence structures. It won't take much time. If you are the same guys who repeat that session, it will be easier for you to understand, or else I'll have to explain the basics once again. These are the basic things. And when we talk about English grammar, it's all about the basics. Once you understand the basics, the bigger things gets easier, because these are the sentences that you create in a fraction of a second. You don't have to think too much. Once you get fluent, once you have the confidence, you'll know exactly which ones goes where. And our brain is so much capable that it can calculate these things in a fraction of seconds. You just have to think about the idea, and these rules and these words just gets attached to it. It's just like magnet once you learn the basics properly. Right? And then we'll have a session where I'll share the structures, because I've seen many students using the verb forms incorrectly. For instance, I want to work. So I've seen many people say, I want to working. I want to go there for, and they start using any verbs that they feel. So I'll talk about these things in the future sessions. Until the 61st session, I did not have a particular topic that I need to cover, and I used to keep it random. So what I'm planning right now is, and this is something that I was about to share. So yeah, I'll be sharing a Google form. All you have to do is send your doubts. So I'll be prepared. I don't have to prepare, but I'll exactly know what to cover during the sessions, or else I can schedule it for the next sessions, the doubts that you have. All right. So every time I'll be sharing a Google form, just share me your questions. I'll try to address it as soon as possible. All right. Sure.
Be nice, sir.
So we'll keep this session here. We also had the same session live on YouTube. I was the only person attending from my cell phone. So yeah, we have 1 viewer and 1 like. Anyway.
I'm gonna be the second one, sir.
That's okay. So for you guys, all you have to do is send me a hi. I'll be sharing this whiteboard's PDF, and I'll be sending the YouTube link to you personally. All right. You guys can do it right now, so I can complete this work and then I can get some sleep.
Yeah, I'll do it. And sir, you said something while you had a like about contraction. You said something that you cannot use contraction in speaking in IELTS.
No.
Is it like okay?
You should only use contractions for speaking and not for writing. Your writing should be formal until and unless you're preparing for general training. For general training, you write semi-formal letters. But for academic essays, please never ever use contractions.
And speaking, I can do that.
Speaking, you should use contractions. It's completely opposite than writing. You should use contractions, and it is highly encouraged. Or else you start sounding boring and robotic. If you don't use contractions, you'll sound like a robot.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I got you.
Perfect. So I got 1 message, so that person received the PDF, and once I end this session, I'll be able to share the YouTube link. I think I can share it right now as well. So yeah, once it is processed, you'll be able to access the whole video. Right? Just make sure that you send me hi right now, so I can send the files right away.
I just want to say something that you said through the next session that we will.
I'll be able to answer different IELTS related or communication related questions after that portion is done.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you already received the file. Yes, you did. I already sent it to Chirag. I'm sending it to Darpan, Jai, Aya. Please verify and let me know if it is sent already. Then
I got my one.
perfect, Jai. Thank you so much for letting me know.
I haven't received it yet, sir.
Please check your DM. You sent the hi after I sent it, so you received it.
Oh, really? Thank you, sir.
I'm
Yeah.
very quick, you know.
Oh, very quick. Thank you.
So, time to end the session. We'll stop the live, and here we go. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Take care. See you, sir. Have a good one.
Bye.
Take some sleep. Have a good night.
Good night.